morning, I'm Dana Rickman. I am with the Georgia Partnership for Excellence in Education. For those of you that don't know, the Georgia Partnership was formed a little over 20 years ago by a joint effort from the Georgia Chamber of Commerce and the Georgia Economic Developers Association. What they found, not what they found, but what they realized and sort of instinctually knew, if Georgia was going to have a strong workforce in a competitive economy, it had to be built upon a strong educational system. One of the roles that the partnership plays is to really be that business voice on issues ranging from birth to career, on educational issues. And so today here, what I want to talk about is the business voice for grade level reading. I was looking over our rather extensive agenda, and you are going to hear from many, many experts today about why early literacy matters, the foundation that it builds for the future success of students, and why it's so important to them. What I want to talk about here is when that foundation is strong, what happens to our economic development? If that foundation is weak, what happens to our workforce? Essentially, I want to lay out for you a case for business involvement in this movement. What are Georgia's economic development needs? Those of you who work in economic development have seen these numbers many times. By 2020, 60% of all of our jobs in our state are going to require some form of higher education, technical college, four-year degree, something beyond high school graduation. Currently, 42% of our adult population has this. What does that mean for us? What's the problem? We are short 250,000 diplomas. How did we get here? What does this look like, and how do we fix this? Currently, our workforce cannot support our economic development needs. So what happened? These are our graduation rates for the past 4 years based on the new calculation of what they call the cohort graduation rate. Is based on ninth graders that enter. 4 years later, they graduate with a high school diploma. In 2012, over 37,000 kids did not graduate high school in 4 years. They were not ready for college, they were not ready for a career, they weren't ready for military service. And some would argue they probably weren't ready to be the best parents and community involvement people that they could be. This is a problem. Though while we have steadily made good progress on this, if we keep to this course, we are not going to meet our need of 250,000 new degrees by 2020. This is not going to get us to where we're going to go. We've got to do something different. We have got to get this graduation rate up, and the foundation for that is reading on grade level. We all know this, and you'll hear more today as to why that's so important. But what happens if we're able to fix this? What happens to our economy and our workforce? If we added just an additional 30,000 new high school graduates in 2012, we'd have $242 million in increased earnings within this state alone within 1 year. That equates to 475 million increased home sales. And we all talk about funding for education is primarily local, based on the local tax digest, property taxes. Think what $475 million in increased home sales could do for that. And when we're looking at the state budget, which we all know is not what we would like it to be, for annually, we're looking at a $350 million increase in the state gross product that would result in an additional $18 million in state revenue, tax revenue. This is just high school graduation. Now, if we put in numbers for that 250,000 that had a degree beyond high school, I would need more time, more charts, possibly an easel, to show you all the economic benefit to the state. This is our goal. This is what we can achieve from an economic development standpoint if we get the foundation right. What happens if we get it wrong? What happens if we don't reach our goal? Are we just sacrificing the 250,000 jobs that we need? Are we just sacrificing the $18 million in state tax revenue? I'm here to tell you, unfortunately, it's worse than that. There is a storm brewing that if we don't address will actually make our current situation worse. And here's why. The changing face of Georgia. Now remember the data that Gail introduced opening up this panel. We had a 15% population increase over the past 10 years in Georgia, but it wasn't uniform across all population demographics. Specifically, children in poverty went up by nearly 40%. That's a huge increase. In our public school systems alone, nearly 60% of all children are eligible for free or reduced price lunch. In the Hispanic population, almost doubled during that 10 years, a marked increase in English language learners. And we all know the statistics about these at-risk populations and their ability to read on grade level by 3rd grade, and then what that means for high school graduation and workforce development. This is creating what I call perfect storm. The first part of that storm, Martha alluded to it earlier, or specifically talked about it, this K-12 system is going through a major transformation in increased rigor, increased standards, increased accountability. School's going to get harder. Expectations are going to get higher. That's a good thing for individual students, for families, for our communities, for our workforce. That's a good thing. However, the second part of this storm is this changing demographics. Our schools now are more likely to have children that are going to suffer from the achievement gaps and could possibly get worse during these increased rigors and standards if we don't pay attention to their needs and to make sure that they are reading on grade level by 3rd grade so those achievement gaps don't get worse. The third part of that storm is our changing economic structure. The growth rate for jobs in Georgia is over here. High tech, highly skilled. The jobs that are coming, they're STEM jobs, science, technology, engineering, math, healthcare, IT. All of these jobs require some form of higher education. Our population is growing in areas that typically have been for low-wage earners. So we have a population of earners, we have our jobs. They don't currently match. The educational system needs to step up, close the gaps, close the achievement gaps, and if they do that, we will not have a perfect storm that could potentially sink us. We will have what I like to think of as a trifecta of opportunity to really create a wonderfully diverse, educated, creative workforce that is ready for our challenges in the future, and that will really create a Georgia that investors from across the world will want to invest in. People will want to come here and work and participate in our economy. And from my standpoint, that is why businesses should care about grade level reading, they should be involved in grade level reading, and they need to support this campaign. And that's my talk. Thank you very much.